Welcome to Hatched, Idea to Impact. I'm Jenna Devonport.
And I'm Dustin McMahon. This is a podcast where we sit down with people behind successful businesses to unpack their journey.
The lessons, the setbacks, the mindset, and what shaped them along the way. Real conversations about what it actually takes. Let's get into it. All right, so today we're joined by Sam Neville. I Am Lending. Sam, brilliant brokering business that you've built after coming out of franchise world. Tell us a little bit about your journey into owning your own business.
Yeah, thank you. So thanks for having me on today. My backstory is when you're a baby and you're a kid, you don't know what you really want to do. And at school,
I still don't know, Sam.
Yeah, right. We never.
Isn't there a song about that?
We just end up in a career and we hope it's the right one. But I went to uni to be a PE teacher, so I was going to be a PE teacher. So I got through the first part of that degree. It was a double degree, and I finished that. And my partner at the time was already doing his PE degree. He already knew that he loved it. He knew that that was what he wanted to do. He frothed for it. And I didn't have that same feel for teaching. I liked teaching. I was a good educator, but I didn't love it the way he loved it. And so I sat down and looked at what I wanted to do and what I was good at. And I had a real interest in the real estate market. I loved houses. I loved people. I loved talking. And so, you chuck it into the job generator website and out pops the things you should look at. And real estate was one of them. So I actually went into real estate. I went to a careers night for Ray White. And at the end of that careers night, I was offered a job at one of the Ray Whites that was looking for staff. And so I did that for a couple of years, and I never really got a lot of traction with it. I was probably just a bit too young. I was 21, no life experience. It was a great company to work for. They were lovely, but probably just the consistency of training and the mentoring wasn't quite there at the time. And so eventually I sort of moved on to different things, still trying to stay in the same industry. So I did real estate admin for a while. I did building for a while. I was an admin for a building and then a national marketing manager for a building company. And then I saw a job advertised for realestate.com.au, and that was all of the things that I wanted rolled into one. It was tech, it was marketing, it was real estate, it was people. And so I applied for that. And at the time, the building company I was working for was laying people off. And so I knew I needed another job, but I actually stopped applying for other jobs because I wanted this one so bad. And eventually they did give me a call back. It took them about a month for them to give me a call back, and then I did an interview. I got the job. And so I worked for realestate.com.au for just under 10 years, and I loved it. It was wonderful. At the time, it was such a startup business. Like, it's wild to think about it now because realestate.com.au is such a big thing. But when I worked there, it was a tiny little startup company. And so I got to sort of see that come through, and the sales training and the marketing and the media training that we got working there was second to none. So they rolled out so many sales trainers to us, and it was really wonderful to just cram all that knowledge in that I was dying for. And it's one of those sliding doors moments where you're like, if I had this when I was in real estate, I would have been so successful.
But having said that, you're now the TikTok broker.
Yes.
So do you find that a lot of that come from what you saw coming through there, or?
Yeah, so I had a portfolio near the end of realestate.com.au, I had a portfolio of about 450 real estate agents, and I had to see them all once a quarter, and there's just not enough hours in the day to do that and do it well. And so what I ended up doing to make sure I could get the information that the agents needed to them at a time that they could actually absorb it was I would film the content, and then I would send it out to an email and say, here's the information. So basically, here's our face-to-face meeting. It's just one of us. But you can watch it at a time that suits you so that I'm not taking time out of your day. Here's the information you need. If you've got questions, call me. Otherwise, I'm going to give you a call like in a week's time, and we'll do the deal if we're going to do the deal. And that let me get to a lot more clients or a lot more real estate agents so much faster. And the response I had from that and the sales that I generated from that were phenomenal. And it just, once you have that sales bug, it's hard to go back and turn it off. Like, it's there and it's always there. And so that was how I sort of got started with filming and doing videos to get that information across. And I had that background in education to articulate what I wanted across the line, as well as the sales training of then closing it at the end as well. And that worked really well for me and sort of set me up then that when I moved into mortgage broking, that was when I sort of finished my time at realestate.com.au. Again, I looked at what do I like, what drives me, what do I want to be doing, and helping people buy houses was that one theme that had gone all the way through. And real estate, of course, is not about helping people buy houses, it's about helping people sell houses. And so that was that missing piece that I was looking for, is I wanted to help people buy houses. And then moving into mortgage broking, building that business the same way of having free reign. So it wasn't just the 450 real estate agents I was allowed to speak to. I could speak to everyone. I could speak to anyone who had a smartphone. And that's how it started and that's how it built.
So you're 12 months out now from franchise world and working for somebody else. And I know you've been really particular about what your brand looks like. What from your previous life helped you determine where you were headed in business on your own?
I'm going to shout out here to, he's actually a client of mine, but Jared Walsh, he's a presenter. You would have seen him on radio, on TV. In
our session with Jared.
The session, the basketball and the soccer and everything else that he's a part of. I went to a session of his called Speak Good, and it was for communication skills. So I thought I was going to go there and, polish up on my presentation skills and how to present to large groups. And it was just such an eye-opening session of understanding authenticity and who you are and how you can then use that to not need a script when you're presenting and not need to have all this pre-work done, because you know why you're there, what's important, what your limits are, what you want to get across to the people you're speaking to. And that was probably a turning point of taking it from videos, just doing videos and filling space, to really bringing through my personality and not being afraid to say, well, this is who I am as a person, as a broker. Either that's going to be the broker for you or it's not. And if I'm not the broker for you, that's perfectly fine, because I was never going to be the broker for you. So I can do my silly videos, be as unhinged as I want to be, and not have to worry about whether or not a HR or a marketing team is going to come down and be like, no, that's not, we're not going to do that. That's not for the brand. It just gave me the freedom to be silly and unhinged, because I am silly and unhinged. And the response I've had from that is just all of these beautiful clients that
appreciate who you are.
They're genuine.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing that more and more. Like you look at different successful brokers, like Pete Savage last night, winning Broker of the Year. You look at it and he's not for everyone. He's actually he's probably he's probably not for 90% out of there of people out there, but he doesn't want that 90%. He wants the 10%, and being comfortable with that is a big thing, I think.
Yeah, and it's that disconnection between what you see online and what you then experience. Like if you are watching Pete Savage's videos and then you rolled into a meeting and he rolls up in a tie and he's uber professional, and you just be like, this is, item is not as described. You have a disconnect. It's same as if you're incredibly professional in your videos and someone's like, yes, this is the incredible professional broker that I want. And then they turn up to your office and you're there in your trackies and it's, half a day off and, we'll just get this done, don't worry about it. And you're going to have a disconnect between that expectation and the reality.
There's another one I've been seeing on social media and LinkedIn, and they just seem to attack other people, and you sit there and go okay, you're doing really successful, but do you have to lower yourself to that? I saw something he posted this morning. I'm like, how can you sleep straight in bed or that? But
It's that, the rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah.
If everyone is good at social media, then you make your differentiation by how well you connect with your clients and how well you solve their problems and provide answers and advice. So I don't see a problem with that. I give heaps of advice. I will very happily, and it happened to me the other night, someone texted me to say hi, and they told me about a campaign they were planning to run, and I was just like, oh, you could do this, and you could do this, and what about this? And they were just like, you've given me more content in 30 seconds than I've got out of the marketing team in 5 days. I'm not going to do that content. I don't have an agreement with that group. I can't do anything with it.
It's not losing anything, is it? I think that's a great thing about the broking industry, though, is that 90% of people really do help each other and love sharing info and stuff like that.
Case in point.
Yeah, I was thinking that as we're going.
So 12 months in now, and we're big on there's not failings, just failing forward. So our learnings, we talk about those. What do you think is your biggest mistake or something you do differently or lesson learnt in the last 12 months?
I was lucky enough through LMG to be on a business development group called Elevate.
Oh, yes.
And so what I had the opportunity to do was throw these scenarios and these questions about starting my business and when should I hire, when should I do this, when should I do that, am I building this the right way, to this group of people who had either done it or were about to do it, and then the sales trainers again that they brought in to talk to us about that sort of stuff. So I've had a really charmed run of not falling over very much because I had this huge support team behind me that if I started to tip, I could be like, is this a good call? And then they could just prop me back up and be like, maybe do it this way. Yeah. So it's been a really phenomenal 12 months. There's been some ups and downs.
Yeah, it's probably not just the 12 months though, is it? Like you went through like you thought about being a PE teacher, then you've gone into like your teaching has helped you with what you do now, and then working in real estate, which that's a tough industry. I've never heard it described that like real estate agents sell property whereas we're helping buy. Yeah. I've always said we play in the same industry, like it's doing the same thing, but I think ours is hasn't been the last few years, but ours is the easiest sale because we're helping people. We're not selling a property or doing stuff like that, but yeah.
Yeah, and so I went through a period of trying to do it all myself, and I think without access to that Elevate group of people, and we still catch up now, it's such a good tight-knit group of people.
Same with our group. Yeah, so we would have been 18 months ago, and we still catch up. It's a great little network within your network.
And so I made a lot of those decisions sooner than I would have if I had been left to my own devices. I'm naturally risk averse. So taking a decision when I have no history behind me of income, I have no idea what my pipeline looks like. I've got no data, and I love data, so I've got no data to fall back on to then say, right, it's coming and it's going to keep coming, and I need support because I was working 18-hour days. Because I had two people's worth of job on my desk every single day, and it kept coming in. So I brought an offshore on first, and then I hired an onshore broker admin, so hybrid role, about 2 or 3 months ago, and that has just revolutionised my day because now, and he's so good at all the stuff that I don't want to be doing, all of the background, the paperwork. Like, I've had the meeting, I've written the loan, we know where we're going, we know what we're doing, but now I have to put that all on paper. He does that all for me, and it's just, I'll be sitting there doing something else, and in my email it'll pop up that the game plan has been sent out, and it's just
amazing.
It's just made my life so much easier to know that he's doing all of that to keep the business running, and I'm just feeding the engine at the front and doing all the stuff I like doing, which is talking to people and making my silly videos.
But it's playing to your strengths, and I think you're happier when you are doing what you love, and then that feeds through, like you were saying in the videos, being your authentic self. If you're sitting there and doing your paperwork that you don't enjoy doing, that flows through into your meetings.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. But yeah, and it frees up more time to make my silly videos.
Yeah, perfect.
And personal life, you got family, what's your...
Yeah, so the husband, as we mentioned before, so he's still a teacher. He was PE when he started. He's now a history teacher. I've got 2 boys, so I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old, nearly 8-year-old. And they go to school locally. One's very involved in sports, the other one does scouts. They're little terrors around the house, and I wouldn't have any. It's been just, now that I have that support, so I'm not doing crazy hours, I can leave and pick them up early from school if I need to, or like today my son forgot his recorder, so I could pop home during the day, get his recorder, drop it into school, and the flexibility to own your own time, own your lifestyle, it's so much better.
So on that, big discussion we've been having a lot lately is it's around sort of getting more women into our business, but also it's a male-dominated industry, and like you talk working the 18-hour days and stuff like that. How do you make life happen running a business and also looking after the family, I guess?
Yeah. you do need the support. And I think whether it's correct or not, gender roles normally dictate that the wife is the support. I have an incredibly supportive husband, and he took a step back so he was in leadership and teaching, and a bit similar to, I guess, knowing what you want to do. Like, he loves teaching kids. That's what drives him. So he was doing much more leadership, which is managing people and managing parents. And so he wanted to take a step back, and that freed up more time for me to be focusing on the business. And we talk everything through to the nth degree. So we had that discussion of what does this next 12, 18, 4 years look like for us, where I'm going to be working hard to establish a business, and I'm going to be spending a lot of time after hours working on the business and doing all this extra stuff that I wasn't doing before, because as a PAYG broker, I didn't have to do payroll. I didn't have to do all this other stuff. And now it's my responsibility. And you can either outsource it, but then you got to pay for it, or you can do it yourself, but then you pay for it in time. So I did that sort of long period where I was burning the candle pretty hard. And then having Mitch on board now in the office has brought my day back to an 8-hour day. So there's so much more time it's the worst time because it's now winter and it's dark when you get home, but I can be home at just after 5 because I'm so close to my home.
You have the fire on up here?
The office is so close. No, we don't have a fire, but yeah, the heater gets
you're in Bel Air. I'm so disappointed.
We're in a newer house though, it's not an established property. So, and my husband's also quite risk averse, and a wood pile means snakes.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, you can get home, you can go. I went for a walk last night in the dark. I put the head torch on. We're right on the edge of 2 parks, so I went for a walk with the dog, and there's time. There's even just time to sit and scroll on my phone and look for videos that I like and I want to emulate, because I'm not working 18 hours a day. So yeah, work life, bringing people in to manage. If you've got 2 people's worth of work to do,
get help.
You need to get help. You need to shore up your processes, because if it's a process issue, you need to fix your processes. But if it's just 8 hours of extra work that you can't get to, then that's a person. That's a whole person that needs to be doing that.
That's what you're good at as well. I'm sure sitting at a computer, I'm less efficient than I am talking to someone and bringing in business. It's sort of, yeah.
He tried to send an invite out, and it took him 7 attempts.
And it's still not. Still not right.
And it's still
now
wrong.
the venue's got to change. So we're getting there.
Admin's not his strength.
I think Jen's itching to send out the correction email from her email.
I should have done it right the first time.
Yeah. And sometimes you read it 4 times and you're like, yep, this is perfect. And then someone else is like, did it mean to have that typo?
Yep.
Did not. Yeah.
Wrong date, wrong place. Yeah.
And that's the other benefit of having someone else in the office there doing stuff, is that so I will be checking the game plans before they go out, and if I've missed something, he'll pick it up. If he's missed something, I'll pick it up. And 2 people have looked at it to go, oh, hold on a second, that's not what we thought, or that's in the wrong section. And it's just, when it's just you, if it's a bias mistake that you're always going to make it. And so when someone else is like, oh no, actually we don't do it that way, that's not the right way, or that policy doesn't apply in this situation, it's doubly effective.
We've moved to having our system that things pass through different people, so that you pick up each other's mistakes and stuff like that.
So we're now a year in. You've put on some staff. You're enjoying it. You've got time back.
Yes.
What's next for I Am Lending?
Mitch was broking prior, so he was my admin, then he was broking, and now he's gone back into effectively a hybrid role. So he's doing mostly admin, but he has the ability to broke as well. Para broker position, basically. So development of him as a broker is key here. Like, I want him to be a broker. I want him to stay with me as a broker. So making sure that he's getting the support he needs to grow as an employee, as a broker, and feel supported as he does that, so that when he's ready to make that next step, then he can have a smoother transition and stay with me and work for me or work with me, and making sure that I'm checking in on him about what he needs and what is his next step for him. So that's, for me, the next goal is, like, the business is humming. I would be very, very happy to keep doing the numbers that I'm doing in perpetuity. We're both busy. We've got enough work. We don't need to be any busier. We'd need to bring on more people. But yeah, building him up to the point where when he's is ready to be a broker, we will bring on another person. We'll bring on another admin to do both of us, and just have a workplace that's fun and a workload that's manageable, and just be helping people.
Culture is incredible when you get it right, and we talk about it a lot at work. We have that fun workplace. A little bit of banter, sometimes borderline mean, but everyone has fun.
Are you feeling picked on, Jen?
No. I was actually thinking, I probably pick on Dylan. But it's always, we have a great time, and then that flows through. And as you know, in our worlds, the highs are very high and the lows can be very low. So to have that fun around you is massive. Have you thought much about what that recruitment will look like bringing in somebody else? Because, one bad egg spoils it all. Yes. So what does the recruitment process look like for you?
Yeah, I think it's a case of keeping a bunch of irons in the fire, right? Like, you meet people and you think, yes, this would be a person I'd like to work with, and then you keep tabs on them. And when you're in a position, I think if you get to the point where you're just hiring and you're just putting, this, we're looking for this, and you just scatter that out, you're probably already behind the eight ball. You should have already tapped a few people on the shoulder and said, I've got a position for you. Do you want to come across? So that's what my recruitment will be. It will be me tapping someone that I've had an eye on for a while and offering them something that they're not currently getting.
Remind me not to let her come to the office.
But that's your job. That's your job as your own business.
That's
Same
right,
for me.
to retain.
My job is to keep my Mitch happy, so that if he's in a position where he can be tapped on the shoulder, then I'm not doing my job in keeping him happy and making sure he's got what he wants. And look, I've no intention to poach people from people I like. That's probably. But if someone's unhappy where they are and they're not getting what they want, not everyone has great bosses.
No.
It's interesting. I had a thought. Ruan Berger, I don't know if you've seen it, any of his stuff, but he did a training once where he talked about, he actually sends out to his database a job ad saying we're looking for people, and for yourself where you've really found your niche of client, that may be a great tactic for yourself, because you're going to find people that are similar to you, that match your ethos, and find people along that way.
So Mitch actually was a client of mine. So he came in and did his first home with me, and he was doing finance at uni at the time, and so that is the exact situation in which he came to work for me the first time. Is that when my admin at the time retired and we were looking for a new admin to support me, I was like, oh, I've got one. Let me give him a call and see if he wants to come and do it. So I brought him on that way the first time, and then transitioned him on to my new business as well. And so I've already got a few clients that I know either work in the industry or want to work in the industry that I'll probably start there. I already know them. I know the feel of them. They already know that they like me because they're my client. And people within the industry. So that will be my recruitment strategy when we get to it.
Every time I try that, they become BDMs.
We did,
Not mentioning names, but I've had a few that I've approached and it's been a BDM.
Right, you've got to find, for a broker, right, you need to have a mix of, you need him to be a hunter. So you need them to want to go out, but you also need them to be relationship. I think when you're too relationship, that leads very well to BDM, right? All the relationship, not so much sales. On the other side, when you've got a real hunter, then you've got too much sales, and they're not gonna manage their back book, and they're not gonna get the repeat and the referral because they got it done, but maybe it wasn't the right experience.
And this is what baffles me about why there isn't more females in our industry. And this is why it is our passion piece, and our goal is to bring more women into the business. I love our team, but there's far too many men in it. It's interesting hearing you say about the ads, because for a while we were just putting ads out and hoping women would come. But then over time we've become a lot more targeted, and it's about being that business of attraction. So we've moved away from old school, well, you have to work full-time as a broker because so we're starting to, we're going the hybrid, adjusting to bring women in.
Well, if the assessors can call me at 7:30 on a Friday afternoon, why can't the admin be doing their paperwork at 7:30 on a Friday
There's
afternoon?
so many in the industry that you talk to that,
I did it, and that's why, I go, why can't other people do it?
Put the kids to bed
had that
and
phone
do
call
the-
earlier with that assessor, right? If you've ever tried to explain explain to a toddler why they can't have something that they want or why they have to have something that they don't want, you can talk to assessors.
Correct.
I'm pretty sure that was the phone call earlier.
It was. But it's so then our first female that we've just brought in on the traineeship is one of our clients.
Yeah.
So transitioning out of a different industry. So it's fantastic.
So do you want a job? Get a loan.
Yeah. What a great way to test out your employer too, right? Because it's a two-way street. Like they're signing on for you.
Yeah,
the same way
absolutely.
that you're signing on for them. So they get to at least know what it's like to deal with you before you become their boss.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'd love to, we touched on TikTok. A lot of your business comes from mainly TikTok and Instagram. How have you grown that, and how do you find to stay relevant and all that in the TikTok space?
When I first started doing the videos on TikTok, when something new comes out, there's often it's fear, right? You're like, oh, it's something new. I don't want to be a part of this. Let's wait to see if it's any good. But I knew that being first to market with things is always really helpful. So when TikTok came out, everyone was like, oh, I'm not getting on TikTok. It's for young people. I'm not getting on that. That's too weird. I'm not comfortable in front of a camera. That feeling that you get where you're like, oh, that's uncomfortable. That's when there's an opportunity. So I was like, I'm going to push through this. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's a risk, but I'll do it. So I started doing videos on TikTok, similar to what I'd been doing sort of to send out to my clients. And I just sort of middled along doing that. I didn't get very many views, and looking back on them, they're so cringy. They're horrible. I look at them, I'm like, oh, this is so gross. And I remember I went to see a movie, and you turn your phone off in the movies, right? Because you turn your phone off in the movies. And then I finished the movie and I turned my phone on and it was just like, and I was like, what has happened here? And I'd done a video about hex debts. Now, this was the year that the hex indexed by 7.8% or something. It's hideous. And so I'd done a video about, hey, if you've got a hex debt and you're earning the lower end of the threshold, you're actually going to have more go onto your hex debt than you are paying it off. And it obviously hit a chord. And I had hundreds of thousands of views and hundreds of comments and hundreds of followers. And that was sort of the first video of mine that went viral. And I was like, oh, I can make something. I had 3 people call me and ask me questions like, hey, saw your video. Can I ask you a question about this? I was like, wow, this can be a lead generator. And so that's when it sort of started. And then I just started taking it a little bit more seriously. And you talk to anyone who does marketing and anyone who does social media marketing, they'll tell you it's consistency and you got to keep posting and you got to do X amount of posts. And it is. There's no secret to it. Even if it's not amazing content, the consistency of posting will still get you views. And you don't always know what it is about the video that is going to strike a chord, because I can post a video that I've spent ages on and I'm like, this is quality content. It is beautiful. It's going to be such a lead generator, and nothing. 200 views. And then I'll post a stupid little video.
We've got 200.
We've gone viral.
Yeah, then you post something that's like a off-the-cuff, stupid little video, and I'll have 3 people call. Yeah. And I'm like, actually they won't call because they're usually the generation that does not call. They will message. But you just don't know. So just put as much content up as possible, making sure that it's authentic, it's in your brand tone, and it is providing value. Yeah. If you're doing that and you're doing it enough, then it comes. Yeah. Interesting that you asked about Insta. I find I get more views now off of Instagram, but much less conversion. So the actual people who book in to see me and book into my diary are coming from TikTok. So less views, but it's a really high conversion rate. And then they convert. They're so warm because they feel like they know me. They've been following me for however long. They've had a chance to look at my videos. They feel like, and again, there's no disconnect between what they see in the videos and the experience that they then get. And so they're so warm that it's like a one-touch meeting where they've sent me everything up front. They've booked in. We have the meeting. We write the loan. It's done.
We spoke about this a bit before, and I was dragged kicking and screaming into the social media world. And you're right, you do get more comfortable. I still don't like hearing my voice. But for new people that are going to go, all right, let's jump on board, is there still space in TikTok, social media, and what would your advice be to them?
So there's definitely space, because it comes down to how niche you want your content to be. If you just want to go on and make really broad mortgage broker content, there's plenty of broad mortgage broker content. What you've got to do is get in there and find what it is that's about you, or about your business, or about your client that you're actually trying to ask for, and make that really niche content, because there's so many little untapped communities, especially on TikTok. TikTok is a social media site that's built around little communities within it. You know, there's sides of TikTok. There's book talk. There's all these other little something talks.
Lost me.
You're not heavily into book talk. Haven't been reading the Hoppy romances. No. Like all of those little communities, and once you're into those, it's like anything. You know, when you write a loan for someone, and then they tell all their friends, and their friends are like them. So then you get all of these people that are similar to the client that you wrote the first loan for. It works exactly the same. Like social media is just communities.
Denim, one of our brokers, has got a niche in dodgeball.
Yeah.
In the dodgeball community.
Yeah.
It's like, so yeah, but interesting.
You can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a home loan rate.
Yeah. You can TikTok that.
Yeah, there you go. Tick that off. Content generator for free. So I just find what it is that you love doing in broking, whether that's a type of loan, whether it's a type of client, whether it's a type of transaction, and then hit that hard, because you don't have to be everything to everyone. You only need to be a broker for one person. You just get to be a broker for one person for lots of one people.
Brings me to one that I want to ask you about, that you sort of promote yourself to dealing with, is neurodivergent people.
Yes.
How did that come about, and what do you find that, helping them, how do you work through it, I guess? Because I'd be lost, but interestingly.
So, two things. My son is autistic, so we went through a whole process of learning so much more about the neurodivergent brain and how he sees life through this lens of being neurodivergent. And you know, looking at all the things that they're saying, it's how his brain works, and you're like, yes, that is absolutely not how my brain works at the same time. And then understanding how you can then use those strategies to make your life better, like to make his life better, to make my life better, to make other people's lives better. So that was a personal journey. The second part of that was when I sort of sat down and I knew I was going to be starting a business from scratch, and I needed to look at what it was that was important to me and what I was good at. I downloaded all of the reviews, or I took a copy of all of the reviews that I'd had, and I looked for those common themes. And once you know what you're looking for, what came out was the amount of education that I do and the way I made people feel safe. And then I was looking at all of these clients that had left me these beautiful reviews, and I'm like, yeah, like they're all neurodivergent clients. Love them so much, and I just vibe with them so much. So there's a way to go about it where you can explain without making people feel stupid, and you can take that extra time. And because I deal a lot with first home buyers, they want that experience. They want it to be explained to them, not just, here's your loan, it's the best thing for you, just believe me and sign here. Yeah. They want to be taken on that journey, and they want more information. So there's a roadmap on my website, which I developed with Amelia Wright from Neurotopical Therapy, who's a neurotopical therapist in this area. Yep. And she helped me put together a roadmap of all of the steps, so that if you're unsure about what that looks like, that whole process of going to see a broker and ending up with a house, you can go onto the website and you can read that and look at it and know that, okay, this is going to happen in these orders. Because I hate that too. Like, you get an invite to a party and it doesn't have
how many times?
And you're like, what
Did you have to?
Where is it going to be? What am I wearing? What time will it be? Will there be food there? How am I going to, like, what, all of that information that might not be on there because it's either assumed knowledge or you don't need to know yet, you'll find out later. But I need to know. I need to know all of that stuff before I start, or I'm just going to be panicked about it. Yeah, like, God, the social faux pas of turning up in the wrong cocktail dress. Yeah. But yeah, so allaying some of those anxieties from the very start. And the people who aren't going to read it, they're not going to read it. It doesn't hurt. Yeah. It doesn't matter that that's on there, because they were never going to read it anyway. But for the people who want it, that information's there.
I think, even further to that, you've made your website inclusive to everyone, which I love. I'm a bit jealous that you got there before we did, to be honest. I think I dropped the ball there. Yeah. Talk us through why that was important and what that has meant for the businesses.
Which aspect? Are we talking about
I think you put in there
acknowledgement of country at the bottom?
You've got your acknowledgement of country, you've got feel free to let me know your pronouns. Yeah. I think everything about your website is just so thoughtful.
Yes.
And it's, you've thought about every aspect and the people that I guess matter to you and that maybe might not feel like they matter to other people. And I think it's brilliant what you've done. What has that meant for you in business and that, that feeling it gives you working with people?
So a lot of times when people come into my office now, they say how calm and comforting and welcoming it is. Mm-hmm. And I want that experience on the website as well. And it's almost like I mentioned just before, if you're not going to read it, you're not going to read it anyway. Yep. If you're not bothered about your pronouns, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But if you are bothered about your pronouns, or if you do want someone to make sure that you've gendered them correctly or use the correct pronouns, then it is important. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, an omission, not having it there at all, when you could have it there, it's not hurting to have it there. Yeah. And I have a wonderful set of clients from the trans community, which I assume because I've written a few and they've had a good experience, they've then recommended their friends, and it's a tiny piece of respect just to, if you've asked and they've given you a pronoun, use it. If you need to have a delicate conversation about previous names, you have a delicate conversation about previous names. It's just part of looking after people, and I like that. If anything, it scares off the kind of person, or not scares off, but annoys the kind of person I don't want to deal with. Yeah. If you've got someone that comes in that thinks that pronouns aren't real, or doesn't acknowledge the First Peoples of Australia, or doesn't deal with neurodiversity, thinks that's all a phase. I'm okay with not dealing with those people. And if that scares them off or pisses them off and they don't come into my office, that's fine.
That saves some time.
I'd rather deal with those people that I do like, that I respect, that I want to spend time with. So I've got some stickers coming for the office, which I've been waiting for ages. So I've got some flags, and I've got the hidden disabilities sunflower is coming, and I have a couple of flags to go, like the pride flag and some other ones to go on the door. And the same thing. Like if someone comes past and goes, oh, what's that? Yeah. Keep walking. I'm not the broker for you. Yeah. You'll find one somewhere else.
It's quite impressive how sort of comfortable you are with your client base, with how who you want to deal with, and that. It's very impressive.
There is a lot of mortgage brokers, right? There's a lot of mortgage brokers, but there's a lot of people. Yep. And you deal with the people that you like, and they deal with you because they like you, and it's not that hard. Yeah, I don't need to farm every single person and have every single person on my books as my client, because not all of them need a broker. Sometimes you get to a point where you're done with needing a broker, and then it's like having kids. It's time to let them go.
Yeah.
Now, on our podcast, we've got a bit of a thing where we talk about inspirations. So you've touched on Jared Walsh before, so he's now banned from this answer. Okay. So people that have inspired you throughout life, it could be teachers, previous bosses, or anything.
How long can I have?
As long as you need, Sam, until the battery goes flat.
I had a hockey coach, Mrs. Hawkinson. She was my hockey coach in high school, and she was just one of those people. Like, she was a Ted Lasso kind of person, right? She just inspired you to be a better person, and just had this really calm way of going about things, where you just wanted to be around a person like that, a leader like that. And so she was probably the first. That's probably why I went to do PE teaching at uni. That's probably that first mentor that I had, that was like, this person wants me to do well because she wants me to do well, not because she wants us to get A's in the class, or because it looks better when we all get A's, or for whatever, or because she wants us to win hockey games. She just wanted us to be better people and help other people be better people. And I've sort of gravitated towards those kind of people over the course of my career as well. So my boss at realestate.com.au, so I worked under him for 9.5 years, Kim McGuinness, same thing. He just had a genuine desire for you to be good at what you do and be a better person, and he was just a lovely person to work for. And I also did a lot of soul searching with another manager. He wasn't even my manager during COVID. I struggled during COVID. I'm not a stay home, not talk to people kind of person. Really struggled. All my like really introverted friends, they were just like, this is the best thing ever. Like, I don't have to talk to a single person, and I'm just like fretting. And so I really struggled with the isolation and being cut off and just not feeling connected. And I was adopted by a Sydney team in realestate.com.au. They brought me into their sales meetings. We did Zoom meetings because we're all Zooming in from wherever, so it didn't matter that I was in Adelaide and they were in Sydney. And his name was Matt Ford, which is hilarious, not Matt Ford from here, but Matt Ford, he's over in Sydney and he still works for realestate.com.au. Same thing, just such a people person and such a driver of being the best person you can be and considering other people when you're making those decisions. And so just having those people to talk to as mentors when I was going through the motions of leaving my previous workplace, and I knew I had to have that really tough conversation with someone that I immensely respected, but I was going to upset. I called him and I laid it out and I said, I need to have this conversation with this person. Here's what they're like. How do I have this conversation so that it goes well for both of us? And he gave me just pages. I was scribbling it down in the car outside the office of just, here's how I would structure this conversation. Here are the things that I would open with. These are the things that I would make sure that you touch on. And it just gave me a framework that when I was going into that meeting, I could stay in control. You know, it's an emotional, you're telling your boss you want to leave. It's hard and you don't know how it's going to go, right? You've got a gamut of this could be the worst conversation I've ever had in my life to this could end so well and everyone leaves with, you know, daisies in their hair. And it, you know, having that framework to then be confident about the decision, the reasons I was making the decisions, and know that I'd had a chance to say all the things I wanted to say in that conversation, not get derailed because things had changed or it was a tough conversation to have.
Nothing like Jared's story.
Like Jared's?
Yeah.
He's had some tough conversations.
The dog one?
The dog one?
Yeah.
So he was there. I have a lot of time for those people that they see not just how they can make money out of you or not just how you fit into their team so that the team works well, but just making sure that they're building you up into being the best version of you. And that's what I want to do for my staff. Like, I want them to feel like they're coming with me on the journey and that I'm building them up so that they can do things that even they were like, oh, no, I'm not ready for that, or I'm not good enough to do that. Sort of build them up to the point where they're comfortable to take risks and comfortable that they are that good.
Yeah. I think, we've definitely covered a bit in the last 40 minutes.
Probably should say my husband as well.
Oh, yeah, your husband.
Amazing. No, Adam is wonderful. We've been together like 20 years. Like it's
high school sweethearts or uni?
Just outside uni, uni. So I think I was in my third year, he was in his second year of uni, and we've just been together ever since. But we've always been very good at communicating, so we've always talked through those changes to our lives. When we had kids, and I was going to take time off of work for that, and then I make the joke that I did 2 years hard labour, and he now has to do the 18 years of just all the other stuff. So
where's he teach?
He's at Heathfield, so he's just back up in the hills, and so he does all the school holidays, right? So he does 2 weeks every 10 weeks for 18 years. And I did 2 years of hard time. That's the deal. But no, we love our boys. They're beautiful, and he's just a rock. Like, he listens to me when I'm having issues, and he's just a good egg.
So beautiful.
Been a great conversation, and thank you very much for bringing us up to the Belair Hotel, and giving us your time.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, and and you mentioned about getting more women into the industry. I think stuff like this is so important because you can't aspire to be something that you haven't seen. So the more you see it and the more you're exposed to it, the more likely it is that someone's going to go, that could be me, I could be doing that.
Such a rewarding industry, and I think once there's some hard work to go into it, but there is that flexibility of your time and managing it.
And you can make it whatever you want it to be. No, we don't all have to be the world's most amazing broker. Sometimes you can just do what you want to do at the speed you want to do. I've got some beautiful friends that are part-time brokers and they love it.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sam.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.